going to do a quick recording showing how to use the schematic and board design UIs in JITX to complete tutorial 2. So let me get the code real quick. Here I've got an initial setup project by JITX, and I think it's organize schematic. Just pull the code here, and I'm just going to copy paste this into main. Okay, save it, run it. So on the initial load, it's going to take a little longer than on subsequent reloads because it's going to do some circuit solving, and you can read a description of the code in the tutorial itself. This video is about the UIs. Okay, so it's running part solving, trying to find voltage divider with the highest tolerance resistors that accomplishes the design goals, and found a couple. Okay, now we have a generated schematic and board, but I'm going to start with the schematic. So I just have this set up here. So page 1, we've got a hierarchical schematic, not too much going on there. And then it's split up our groups across pages. So here is the regulator. Press E, and notice I've got screen recordings of my keyboard capture so you can see what's going on. So that is our regulator. And then on the next page, we've got the connector and the then some just test points. Okay. I notice you can double click on here, it's all cross-linked. All right, so going back to the schematic, let's start by organizing this. So first, I'd like all my groups on one page, so I can select a group, press a number, so that's going to send it to the first page. Notice I can send this to the 4th page, and it's going to go send it over there, and then I can delete the pages I don't need anymore. All right, so this is already looking pretty good, just with the automatic schematic. But let's say we wanted to change some things. So for example, we don't like this being split up. So I can delete that and it joins the wires. And then I can move these caps over. That's a good spot for the feedback resistor. Good spot for the load balancing cap. And then there's my load resistor. Okay, so let's say we wanted to change it further and actually merge these groups. For example, like I want my connector here to be merged with the regulator. Now I can't just drag these together. These groups are controlled in code, which is actually a really nice way to control the organization of your schematic. So here I'm going to say, what is this called? This is measure. So measure is grouped here. Okay, yeah, so I made this tutorial has a group with test points and measure. Now I'm going to say that instead of test, it's going to have the same schematic group as the regulator. Save that, rerun it. So now this is going to keep my changes on the schematic, rerun the code, and I should have a new group with the connector, moved into the regulator group. There we are. So I'd like to move this over here. This ground test point goes down there. Again, I can merge these. Load resistor goes there. And now I've got the schematic I wanted. So this is for aesthetic rearrangement. You should have the full control. Notice you can't really change any nets. So you can't make your design incorrect by dragging stuff around. And that concludes the schematic portion. Now on the layout side, let's just do this real quick. So I've got my banana jacks here. Notice that they're constrained kinematically. So this fits the standard plug spacing. There's my load resistor. It probably goes around there. My test point, it's probably going to look something like that. And here's the regulator itself, and a couple test points that go here. Let's see. Yeah, so that's on the edge pin. So notice at the bottom I have a little net highlight that pops up. That's really helpful. And this is just a ground, so you have a local reference for measuring that point. That's looking good. And the passives for the load regulator just a couple input and output caps, and the feedback network. I should probably go somewhere close to the pin. Okay, and that's an input cap, whatever, and the output cap. Yeah, looks good enough. Okay, so the basic idea here is that I'm probably going to first fan out ground, so that's a ground pin. I can hit A, select every pad on ground, and then Shift V automatically adds a via to every pad. So now ground is found out, and I've got a power plane on this design that will do all the connections for me. Route that back to ground. Now I did add a via to every pad. I probably don't need these extra ones. Just delete those extra vias. And notice that when you move a component, its via moves with it. So this is for very quickly building assemblies of things. And I don't need you. Okay. Now this, I like this, so I'm gonna move this here. And let's say I want to route this net. So I do just have a selection, hit Q. So here I hit a pad, hit A, select all pads in the net, hit Q. That's needlessly bad, so I can rotate that. And notice you can drag around components and just have the routes update. You don't have to like reroute things every time you move a component. That's the point of having an autorouter. Okay, I don't like this over here. I'm gonna move it over here. So notice that it rips it up if you move it too far, and it changes like significantly. You might not want that route anymore. Here is that's just V out. Can route that. That's fine for a test board and close enough for government work. And finally, I can just select again the input node, hit route, and it's okay. Let's say maybe I'll move that there, move this here. Yeah, okay. Not amazing, but fully routed here. And we got some rat's nest evolving on the bottom, so I'm going to shift to the bottom, select via mode, and just drag out some vias from the ground pads on the bottom for our BNC connector. And that's it, fully routed. Thank you for watching this video that showed how to first organize a schematic and then finish the layout for this test board.